Liverpool are an exciting attacking side, but one whose defence regularly comes under fire. All over the place is a description that is often used, and when one considers how many goals Liverpool have conceded so far this season after 14 games played, it does seem like rather a lot for a team in 5th. But what are the Reds getting wrong? Liverpool customarily line up as a 4-3-3. This should ensure two things. Firstly, a flattish back four should be spaced at regular intervals across the pitch. Secondly, that the midfield three should ensure a degree of vertical compactness to protect that back four, and horizontal flexibility to cover the wide spaces if the front three doesn't drop off to help. Liverpool's first two issues spring from the midfield's positioning. The team are especially vulnerable to being attacked on the counter, and this is because their midfield pushes high in support of the front three. This is also the case when Liverpool press, as gaps appear between the lines of the midfield and the defence. Rather than push as a line, Liverpool often sit deeper at the back, then try to react if a ball is played into space between the lines, which causes defensive doglegs. Dejan Lovren is especially culpable of being dragged forwards in this way, but the space is there partly because the midfielders don't drop enough, and partly because the whole defensive line should push forwards. The second issue is that while the midfield three of Liverpool track their men reasonably well, the wider midfielders seem to do this most when the man they are tracking starts centrally and moves wide. They are less keen on pulling wide to an opponent who is already there, understandably given it would isolate the most central midfielder. This creates a situation where the Liverpool fullback is dragged forwards to compress the attacking space, or chooses to stay in line with the rest of his defence, which in turn allows more room into which the attacker can run. If the fullback pushes up, then there is a gap into which a pass can be played to an even wider attacking player. If he stays, then the space is in front of him rather than to his sides, but this is still dangerous. Liverpool look most vulnerable to quick balls pulled back from the byline, and this is in part a function of the errors that we've already seen. If a centre-back pushes up too high, or a full-back is dragged forwards to compensate for a lack of cover in front of him, then gaps appear through which passes can be played. Liverpool are also weak moving backwards, being attacked at pace through the centre before the ball is moved wide. As their defensive line backpedals to take up a low block, they have a marked tendency to split. Three players move in the general direction of the ball and the attacking line, while the opposite fullback stays wide. This wouldn't be an issue if the attacker was swamped by defenders or there was no overlap, but what often happens is that Liverpool's defence lose shape and create room for an overlap, because the fullback isn't helped or the unit doesn't move across enough. A ball can then be played out wide. The far fullback is then in a dangerous predicament should he be attacked by two players. He can't with ease look left and right or in and out, and so he is caught trying to cover the central gap that has opened as his colleagues have moved across, and also the run in behind him to the far post. Add into this mix the fact that Liverpool's fullbacks are not the strongest aerially, and that Simon Mignolet can at times lack authority in this area, and Liverpool are also vulnerable to far post crosses in the air, as well as ones whipped along the ground. While Liverpool are far from a bad side, they have a few systemic weaknesses in their defensive positioning that leaves them open to quick counters, especially out wide when teams generate overloads or bunch in between the lines, as Spurs did so ruthlessly. The back four do not position themselves well relative to each other or to the midfield, but the midfield does not help sufficiently out wide. If Liverpool can address these issues and retain their attacking identity, they will be a formidable force. If not, they'll struggle to be regular challengers for the title. People often ask us where we get our stats for these videos. A great place to start is the uMFootball app. The app offers a fairly comprehensive statistical coverage of teams and players in-game and post-match, so there's a link in the description of this video if you'd like to download it. Thanks for watching.